Hello and welcome to another smallbusinesspage.org podcast. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about something that is very, very important to me, and also I found it quite important to other people, either people I've worked with in different kinds of teams, or in my own learners and students when I am teaching. Be it teaching at college or running training sessions, mentoring and so on. And that's procrastination. It's quite a sticky little sore subject that quite a lot of people find challenging. Not everyone, but many people I've met find it very, very challenging. Now, you may be wondering if there's a bit of a background noise going on, but I'm actually doing this podcast today from a lovely little lake and sort of forested area outside this nice little town called Yilava. And you can actually see a picture of where I'm doing this podcast from, because it's attached to it's actually the art that I've used for the podcast. So a couple of tips on procrastination. First of all, I think it's really important to realize, if you suffer from it, that you do suffer from it. And to have a clear, to be under no misconception, to actually know it in your heart and in your mind that you actually do suffer from it. Because once you've admitted that, then it makes things a lot easier. So first of all, if you know that you're suffering from procrastination, admit it to yourself. Then take steps to deal with it. So the first that I do is I recognize that I've got procrastination. And the minute that I see myself doing the kind of actions that are to do with procrastination, I recognize it for what it is. All right. So, for example, and I'll use one that I'll give you examples from different parts of life. So when it comes to exercise and training, I would often find that I had a plan to lose a lot of weight and, created a detailed plan of how to do it and so on. But what would happen is that whenever I'm kind of getting towards the time that I'm supposed to be going for my jog or for my skate or whatever it is, all of a sudden there's 101 other things that I'm supposed to do. I haven't washed the plates. I haven't tidied up. I haven't done some work that I was meant to have done. I haven't written something. I haven't done some research I was meant to do. All of a sudden 101 other things need to be done. Okay? And the thing is that I know that this is just procrastination. It's just my mind making up excuses to not do what I'm supposed to do. Another example. Maybe I'm supposed to write an article or to write a paper or write a lesson, record a podcast, whatever. And this work requires me to sit down in front of a computer or in front of a bit of paper and to do what I've got to do. Well then, I'll sit down, I'll organize the books, organize the papers, organize, the computer and everything. Organize the work area, reorganize it, okay? Spend ages planning how I'm going to do it. And then I'll all of a sudden need to go and do something else. Okay, right, before I start writing, I think I need to get a cup of tea. Now, I haven't had tea in ages because I normally have coffee. Now, where is that tea? I know I had some tea somewhere. I better start searching for the tea. Okay? Or, actually, I should be doing this writing in the library because I'll have access to more materials. Okay, so, now I've got to relocate and go to the library. Or maybe I should be doing this writing not in this office because there's too many distractions. Colleagues coming in and out and whatever. I need to go somewhere else. And now I need to find that other place and so on. So all these different distractions come up. And this is just in my case. Obviously, I'm sure if you think about it, you'll find something similar happens to you. That is, if you suffer from procrastination. So what do you do about it? Well, what I do is, as I said, initially start with recognizing how procrastination shows itself in my life. Okay, what behaviors are to do with procrastination. So, for example, if I know that I'm supposed to be going for a run, and then all of a sudden I've got this little, I think my nose might be wanting to run, or I think my leg might be a little bit twitchy, Okay? So I know that that's just procrastination, okay? I know it's just me, my body, whatever, my mind making up excuses. Something else to do with procrastination that I was once told this, and it's quite a lot of years ago. I went to a class. I used to be very much into martial arts when, about 20 odd years ago now, I think, 15, 20 years, whatever, a long time ago. And I studied, different types for, quite a long time. Anyway, I'd gone to a new class which I found interesting, and it was called Tiger Crane or something. And researched it, went there. In the end, I never actually stayed with the system. I only went to one class, and it wasn't really for me. But something that the instructor said stuck with me. And it stuck with me for all these many, many, many years, even though I'd only ever been there to that one class. And what he said was that the mind and the body, they want to be lazy. And the reason why they want to be lazy is because they want to save energy. They want to conserve energy, okay? It's maybe something to do with survival. Who knows? But he said that the mind, the body want to conserve energy. So what will happen is that if you leave the mind to its own devices, if you let it do whatever it wants, well, what it's going to want to do is to save energy. Maybe to eat a lot as well, to stock up on energy, and to sit around and do nothing and just save energy. So he was saying that you can't just let the mind do what it wants to do, because its job is to save energy. So what you've got to do instead is to command the mind, command the body, if you like, to do what you want it to do what you need it to do. Okay? And this stuck with me, and I found it to be quite useful. How true it is, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I've not studied this in great detail. I'm not a doctor. But I do know what works for me. And what I suggest to you is to try different things, experiment, and find out what works for you. Okay? So, as I said, I recognize when my mind, my body is just trying to be lazy and trying to conserve energy. I know it for what it is. And I take action to correct it. All right. So what I do is, some simple concrete steps that I take is to immediately think about whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, put that to the top of my mind, tell myself that it is the most important thing that I should be doing at this moment in time, and that nothing else really is more important. So that's prioritizing, if you like. I also give myself time, and I'll say, okay, so whatever the task is, if it's writing an article, I'm going to write for 30 minutes, or I'm going to write for 1 hour, or whatever it is, okay? And I'm going to do nothing else apart from write this article for that 1 hour, or that 30 minutes, or whatever. Okay? The other thing I do is give myself a realistic target. So I'll say, okay, the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, 15 minutes, I'm going to plan whatever it is that I'm doing, writing or whatever, but only for those 5, 10, 15 minutes and nothing more. Okay? And whatever I come up with then, I'm just going to go with it, because I know it can always be improved later. All right. So again, the same thing if it's to do with training and exercising. I'll say, okay, well, I feel lethargic all of a sudden, and maybe it's to do with not feeling well, maybe it's to do with laziness, whatever. So what I'm going to do is I had put down that I'm going to do 10 kilometers today, but what I'll do is instead I'll go out and I'm just going to do a nice, easy, slow, relaxing 5 kilometers, right? No strain, no fuss, just relaxing. Nice, slow, easy pace. I'll go out there and I'll do it, because what often happens, more often than not, 90% of the time, is that I'll go out to do that 5K really slow, and then next thing I know is I'll do the first K slow, and then all of a sudden the body, the mind, whatever, just kicks in and it speeds up to whatever pace I would normally have done, and quite often I'll end up doing the 10K or more that I'd actually said I would do. Okay, but it was just in that initial procrastination. So what I do in that case is I almost trick the mind by making the job smaller, or making the job seem smaller, or making the job seem easier. So I was supposed to do a 10K, and then I feel that heavy duty procrastination coming in. All right. So instead, I say to myself, right, okay, not feeling up to a 10K today. Fair enough. Instead, just do 5, and do the 5 super slow. Okay. Boom. That's tricking my mind into doing whatever it is I wanted to do, because I know that, again, this comes into knowing my own body and mind and how it works with procrastination. So I know that 90% or more of the time, whenever I feel that I can't do something, that lethargic, whatever it is, I know that that's just procrastination and just downright laziness. Okay? And the same thing, whether it's something academic I'm doing, something for work I'm doing, something written, whatever. It's exactly the same thing. I just break it. I trick the mind into making the task seem a lot simpler than what it is. Another thing I do as well, another tactic I use, if you like, is just to remind myself why I'm doing this task, why it's important. Okay, what I'll get out of doing it. Yeah. For example, cold calling. Okay, maybe I don't want to do cold calling. I don't really like cold calling. I fear it sometimes. Okay, well, I'll tell myself, well, look, you've got to do it because the result will be boom. The result will be more clients. The result will be more sales. The result will be more money. Okay, and so I want the rewards. Therefore, I've got to sit down and remove the procrastination and do that task that I don't really enjoy in order to get that reward that I do want. Okay. Another task as well, another tactic I would use is to start off with a harder or the bigger task when it comes to procrastination, rather than starting off with the easier, simple tasks. Okay. Again, it depends on the situation, because sometimes I'll do the exact opposite. I'll start off with a simple, easy task as, if you like, a warm-up to then do the bigger task. Because then, if you like, when my mind is, if it's written, let's say, sitting down and writing or marking or something that I don't really want to do, I know that if I'm sitting down in that right kind of state of mind, in that right attitude to do the work, I know that I'm more likely to continue and do even more work once I've gotten started, once I've gotten into the swing of things, once I've got the ball rolling, if you like. Yeah. So sometimes I find it's easier to start with a simple, easy task and then go on to the harder task. Again, it entirely depends. All right. Sometimes I'll do the harder or bigger task first, and then because once I've got it started, then it just gets easier because I get into the flow, and then I might go to the easy task for a break and then come back to the harder task. Another tactic I use is just to break things down and do them in stages. And an even more powerful strategy that I use as well, of a really, really big overarching strategy. And this is for many different tasks. Like I said, it can be written type of tasks or mental kind of tasks to and tasks that are more physical, like exercise, if you like. And what I'll do is really remember a time when I've achieved that task and I felt good about it, or I felt relief, or it actually was easier than I thought it was going to be. So a time when I did 10k and actually it was nothing. A time when I did 20k and it was, pretty, not not as hard as I thought it would be. A time when I just did 3k and yet before I did those 3k, I felt like I couldn't even get up and, walk to the end of the road. All right. But I somehow mentally commanded my body to do my bidding and to get up and to put one foot in front of the other and to drag itself those 3 kilometers through pain and mental anguish and buckets of sweat, So what I do is I just remember a time when I actually had a difficult challenge, or a seemingly difficult challenge, and I actually achieved it. All right. So that's in fact, I would say that's one of the most powerful strategies that works for me. But here's the thing. Who actually cares what works for David? All right? Who cares what works for me? How does that benefit you? Okay, well, it might benefit you, it might not. And the only way you're going to find out is by trying, testing things out, seeing if what works for me will work for you, seeing if what works for other people will work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, try something else. Try modifying things, Whatever you do, just try to beat that procrastination. And I think simply by trying, you're more likely to achieve your objective. You're more likely to find results that work for you. Because I honestly and truly do not believe that everything is, that we're all the same, and that whatever works for me will absolutely 110% work for you. And how do I know this? Is it through some magical, mysterious power of my mind that I happen to know everything? No, it isn't. It's based on what I've observed within my own life, and also with working with, huge amounts of students as a teacher over the past 10 odd years. All right. So I encounter a lot of different people, and obviously, as part of my work, the way that I approach my work is by wanting to give people tools. So I'm not just there teaching business or IT or whatever I'm supposed to be teaching, or PE or whatever. I also like to work with people as individuals and to give them tools, to give them life skills that they can use outside of whatever the subject is that I'm teaching. All right? And one of those is the ability to remove obstacles that appear because of procrastination and downright laziness. Because, like I said, loads and loads of people suffer from it. And I've seen that in people who are just students in high school, to people who are professionals, to people who are studying at university in master's degrees or whatever. All right, so anyway, I hope that this little talk has been of value for you. I am now running out of battery power, so this podcast is going to come to an end. And also, I'm in the middle of a park, and it's getting a little bit cool because I'm warming down, and I've got to get back to where I'm supposed to be. So, thank you very much for listening. And what I would really ask you to do is to give some feedback, either wherever you're listening to this podcast, or you can just go to smallbusinesspage.org, and you can make a post there, and also give some suggestions. Tell me what works for you when dealing with procrastination. All right, maybe you can tell me what you've tried and what definitely doesn't work. Maybe you can suggest something if you've tried something and it really works for you. But what I would love to hear is not so much, what you've read or whatever, but I'd really love to hear what actually works for you, what you've tried, and what's given you results. Okay? So that could be for getting your work done, getting your, forcing yourself to get down to business tasks, study tasks, physical exercise tasks, whatever it may be. I'd love to hear from you. This is David from smallbusinesspage.org. And if you want to listen to more podcasts like this, please go to smallbusinesspage.org. And by the way, if you're interested in starting a small or micro business and you have no experience in that area, you have no experience in business or in starting something up or in business ideas or anything of that nature, please just go to smallbusinesspage.org and /courses, or just go to smallbusinesspage.org and there's on the menu at the top there's a link for course or courses. If you click on that, I'm creating a small micro business starting up course, and I'll be more than happy if you join the course, take it, give me some feedback, tell me what you think, contribute, try out the tasks, and it's entirely free, so please go there, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening once again. This is David from smallbusinesspage.org. That's David Mangoro, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Remember, beat that procrastination. Get those tasks done. The power is yours. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.